Vinaka, and welcome once again to this week's program of Speak Your Mind live on radio on Gold FM and the delayed coverage you can catch on FBC TV on Tuesday nights at 10:30. Now, I'm your host, Sarafina Wedlock. Now, a week ago, a few weeks ago, I think, a few reporters and radio presenters in the media industry actually got together and had the privilege to attend a workshop organized by the Media Industry Development Authority. Now, this was based on the Constitution and understanding it better. Now, I definitely had a better understanding of the Constitution by the end of that workshop, and I had the privilege of inviting with me in studio him here to talk about the workshop itself and also other related issues with the workshop is, of course, Mr. Mataya Kola, who's the director for MIDA. Mr. Kola, thank you so much for joining me, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sarafina.
Okay. Now, first of all, okay, what is MIDA? Okay, what role does MIDA play? What is the what role does MIDA play in society?
Well, it is a very important role. Media Industry Development Authority has been set up by government as a statutory body to look at the standards of media in the country. You might recollect that there's been a lot of complaints previously on the standards and how things were going in the media industry. So government saw fit, excuse me, to get this body up and running, and also promulgated a decree in 2010, and looking at some of our functions, it's to encourage and promote and facilitate development of media organizations and media services in Fiji. That's just one part of it, but it's to get the standards up, across the board, in whether it be in the news segment of things, or whether it be in talkback radio or television. So we're looking at the whole spectrum holistically.
All right. Now, with the organization itself, how many employees or how many team? What's the number of team members that you have?
Well, currently we, the media MIDA office is hopefully will be up and running, with the composition of people in the next month or so. So right now there's just the director who's there to set up things, and we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things on our plate at the moment, but we have set a strategic plan in how we focus on that. So hopefully we, once the office is up and running, we should at least have 4 to 5 people in that office initially.
So where are you guys located at the moment?
At the moment, we at level 3 Subaru House, and our office, once it's open, should be at Quarters 8, Lady in the Villa Road in Domain. So hopefully that should be, the next time we're here talking.
Exactly.
I should be coming from that office here.
Okay, nice. When did you join MIDA, Mr.
Well,
Kola?
I joined as director on the 1st of October last year.
Okay.
But previously I was on the board from 2010 till October last year. And that's when it initially started.
All right. Now, with the media industry, like you said, it was established in 2010. Since its establishment and until now, have you guys had a lot of complaints regarding media that you've had to deal with?
Well, we've had complaints in this different ways that people look at things. So yes, we've been having complaints, but at the same time, the reason why we are there is to try and undertake trainings and workshops so that people are more aware of why media is there as well.
Right.
It's just not a mechanism where it just disseminates news, but at the same time, it's there to help build a nation so that we have well-informed citizens in the country to make better decisions for tomorrow.
So, in your capacity as a director, are you supposed to have a knowledge of all media outlets in the country and anything that is related to broadcasting or even radio presenting?
Well, I hope that should be the case. Being a person that's worked in print, radio, television, and being here at FBC, working previously. I'd say it'll help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do the experience having been in the media industry, has it helped a lot with the role that you are taking up now?
Yes, because when we are talking with media colleagues, you can read between the lines.
Right.
You look at things and you kind of have the same sort of frame of mind, so to speak. And we cut to the chase and get straight to the reality of what's happening on the ground. And so there's no fluffy things that people look at and you try and get around it. But having had the experiences and working with media colleagues, we're just zeroing in on what they require and how we could assist them. And
Right.
it's about empowerment.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry, I'm going to be personal, but how long have you been in the media industry?
Well, I started in 81, so that's with the old Fiji Sun. Then we went to FM 96 when it started in 85.
Okay.
Came down to FBC for a short stint in 94. Jumped over to Fiji TV when it started in 95. Went to Fiji Times for a couple of years. Then back to FBC and was the bureau chief in the West for 3 years before FBC called me back to then become the news director for FBC.
So you've been around there.
Kind of, yeah.
So not a new face in media. Okay, Mr. Kola. Okay, the workshop that we just had. What was the objective behind it?
Well, the key thing for us to understand is that the Constitution, it was a workshop on Constitution. The Constitution is supreme now.
Right.
Before it used to be the Parliament. But right now, under this new Constitution, the Constitution is supreme. And that's why it is so important for us to educate the scribes or the media people. Once they understand, only then they can disseminate the type of news that people can better be informed with.
Right.
So it is so important for us to educate the media people, because once they know their boundaries, they know the regulations, they know the rules, when they apply that, it augurs well for them. And a lot of times people are saying, oh, the media is this and the media is that. So for us, we are looking at it from a proactive aspect and saying, okay, why don't we train them? Because we cannot be complaining about them, because there's been a shift. The landscape has changed in the media industry. When you look at the newsrooms, when you look at studios, people who are programmers, most of them were not there in 2006.
Exactly.
I could say that almost half probably joined in 2010. And that's why we need to get back to the basics.
Exactly. Well, we'll talk to you some more. If you just join us, you're on Speak Your Mind. If you have questions for Mr. Kola, feel free to call us up, 3220-906 or 907. We'd love to hear from you. Heading into a break, but we'll be back with more on Gold FM. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, and in studio with us once again is Mr. Matai Akola. He's the director for the Media Industry Development Authority. Now, like I said a few weeks ago, we went to workshops conducted by the media, and this was based on the Constitution. Now, Mr. Akola, have you had other workshops that media has organized?
Yes, just after holding the workshop in Suva, we went over to Lautoka. And we also attracted mostly our media colleagues in the West. Then last Wednesday we went over to Lombasa, and something that we've done is taking those workshops to where it matters, rather than trying to get everyone to Suva, because a lot of times people think that Suva is Fiji, but
exactly.
You take it to those places, and it's been really appreciated that coming from our media colleagues in the West. And even in the North, that they are not forgotten.
That's true. Now, for the workshops that we had, okay, this was the latest. Have you had workshops prior to this in regards to being aware or more aware or being educated on other things?
No, this is the first.
Okay.
How we plan to roll things out. And that is to, also see the framework that we have for the industry this year.
Right.
One thing that we identified was the constitution. Why we need to start off with the constitution. Then it'll be followed by the elections workshops.
Right.
So hopefully that once people know their boundaries, understand their rights within the constitution, and when we come up with the elections workshops, when the elections decree is out, it'll also educate mostly the media people. Our focus is on the industry itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the other thing that we are seeing, how we are getting media outlets together. They sit there and they dialogue, and something that's been missed for so many years. Media colleagues just sitting together and discussing issues, and seeing the different perspectives on how people look at issues.
Exactly. Now, when you had to organize this workshop, how did you know which ones to select, or which particular? Was it just a wide invitation, or did you have to select certain people in particular?
Not really. Our focus was on the industry, especially mainstream media.
Right.
People being inundated with the various news or programs that go on air or in the papers that's been published. So our focus basically was on mainstream media. And once we got them on board, then we started to see, okay, where do the links go to? There are other mechanisms. We had people from, say, from the judicial, people from the police, and when we look at that, we realize, everyone needs to be walking the same page. They need to be on the same page.
Exactly.
Moving forward. Media cannot do it alone. Everyone needs to chip in and assist in some way or the other.
Have you had feedback after these workshops? Like, has people gotten in touch and said, "Oh, this is really educational, and I think we know where to go from here after this"?
Well, we had the evaluation forms, and that's been really encouraging. We had 80 plus participants in the super workshop. We had at least about 20 in the West, and say at least 17, 18 in Lambasa. And the feedback that we had from the media industry participants is really encouraging, because some of the suggestions, they were wanting maybe 2 days to the workshops, because we tried to cram so much
information
into one day. And as it went along, we saw how things had to be done differently in Lautoka. There's a different mindset in Lambasa. Looking at the reality on the ground, it's a close-knit community. So all those things were taken into consideration, and we came back with a lot of good feedbacks, and especially our facilitator, Madam Nazat Shamim, and even our chair, Mr. Ashwin Raj, and just looking at how they enjoyed and the feedback that they have been getting as well. So very encouraging for us.
Yes, and I actually enjoyed the facilitator. I mean, she is just too good. But yes, how did you have to get a facilitator to conduct the workshop?
Well,
was it a voluntary thing, or did she have to? It was part of.
Well, it is part of MIDA's plan to get people, qualified people, and we had to make various arrangements to get her on board, because she's got so much, to do as well. But looking at Madam Shamim, being a judge, former DPP, has been through those, and how she could articulate various sections of the Constitution to the media in simple English.
Exactly.
For us, that is key, and our media people just wanted, simple, no fancy stuff, and things just came out right for us.
Nice. Was it a challenge for her, though? Like having to explain A to B and B to C throughout the workshop? I mean, I know she wouldn't be here to speak on her behalf, but
yeah.
has she had feedback? She shared feedback to you?
Well, after the 3 workshops, when we sat back and just had a chat, and she said, when the media came in here in Suva, in Lotok and Lambas, like things were tense,
right?
But through the day, things just kind of broke down, because we were not focusing on them, but focusing on the Constitution and how it was spelled out to them to understand their boundaries, because once they understood that, it'll keep them safe in whatever work that they do. Wherever they go, they are mindful that, okay, they have these rights, but it has to be coming with responsibility.
Exactly. Now, Mr. Kola, you yourself, did you have to go through the Constitution with her before the actual workshop?
No, ever since we had the Constitution on the 6th of September last year, I've been reading through, but not to the extent on how she explained it. Even, I came in
were learning as well
with an open mind to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I've done all these years is, you come in a new day, looking forward to learning new things.
Exactly. Well, we'll talk some more to Mr. Kola. If you just joined us once again, this is Speak Your Mind. If you'd like to ask questions regarding media or anything around the workshop, feel free to call us up 3220-906 or 907 or text us on 825. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. And yes, our in-studio guest today is the Director for Media Industry Development Authority. Now, Mr. Kola, okay, why that workshop, how would you link it to MIDA, and why what was the objective of the workshop? You did mention that, but what's the link there?
Well, like I said, Media Industry Development Authority was set up by government. And, the Constitution, like I said, is supreme now. Mm-hmm. And we saw how, the judiciary was involved in the mock in the afternoons.
Yes, that was very
because
interesting.
For someone to be interpreting the Constitution, it'll be the judiciary. And that's why it's so important that we get those involved who will be interpreting the Constitution. Should we have any problems, it will go to the judiciary to spell that out for us. However, in the Constitution, it talks about the freedom of the media, freedom of expression, which is in Section 17. Now, in subsection 3, it talks about 17.3h. It says, making provisions for the enforcement of media standards and providing for the regulations, registration, and conduct of media organizations. Now, that is connected to the media decree. The Media Industry Development Decree 2010 spells out the work of the Media Authority.
Exactly.
So that is the link, and something that Madam Shamim has been emphasizing at the workshops was that the media, once they understand, the decree, it protects them, and that's why they need to go through that and understand their codes so that they are protected under the media decree. A lot of times people have, said negative things about the media decree and, its promulgation. But like Madam Shamim has said, it safeguards the media. So once they understand that, they balance everything, they shouldn't have any problems.
Exactly. Now, like I said, as opposed to we're having this workshop to create awareness and also educate the media. Where have there been instances in the past where some of them weren't protected because they did not know their code of conduct or their regulations?
Yeah, well, we've been in the industry all these years. Something is to have the media decree in your hand, and another is to have it inside you, because it's a system that you need to understand.
Exactly.
So that everything's not only in the book, but it's your everyday life. And that's why it's so vital for them to read. And in my experience, having worked in the newsrooms, a lot of times we've told our colleagues to read their media code of ethics. They'll just pick up and maybe read the first couple of pages and go right to the back. But
Yeah.
this will safeguard them because the complaints that normally come up, some of them are really basics. If they understood the basics, we wouldn't go through a lot of complaints.
Having been in the industry for quite a long time, has it been a challenge trying to change the mindset of some of the, one would say, old school time media personalities, or have they been able to kind of slide in and just accept everything as it is now?
Yeah, when we initially started off, people probably across the board, when it comes to change, people are reluctant to even change their seats, so to speak. And it's taken quite a while. But then again, we are in Fiji. It's a matter about building relationships. You don't come in with your powers and say, you command them to come. But it's about building relationships. So once we build those relationships where there's an element of trust, when they trust you, they're willing to walk the extra mile. So that to me is very important because, Fiji is a small place.
Exactly.
And you can meet the other person in the market or wherever. And we have to live with things. And so it is important even in the media industry to build relationships. The media has gone through so much, in the last 20 odd years, either way, and it's so important for us looking at how we progress moving forward is getting that trust back into the media industry, and building relationships and moving forward as colleagues.
All right. Now, excuse me, I was going to say, with your experience, do you think there's been a lot of changes from media industry back then and media industry now?
Yeah, we, if you look across the board, there has been a whole lot of changes, not only in the media industry. You look at the tourism, you look at the judicial system. People have changed. There's been a lot of movements, and so for us in the media industry, since 2006, when there was a parliament, a lot of people have moved on. And a new caliber of media people have come on board. So for us, it's getting them back to the basics, and if we are assisted by the media outlets themselves who have their own training programs, it just fits into what we are doing. We're just here to assist each other. So when you look at that's why I was saying, the media landscape has changed.
Yeah.
And a good number of our, say, journalists, for instance, were not there when there was a parliament. So
right.
They do not know, how to cover parliament. So for us, we've put in place mechanisms for training for them to understand how a parliament operates. Once we have the elections, they understand what needs to be done. At the same time, for those older ones, they need refresher. So 2006, we are in 2014, 8 years.
Exactly.
So, that's why it's so important to get them back, do a refresher. And we welcome some of the experienced ones to help the young ones along. They need to do some coaching, they need to walk with them. And it's good to see some of our older colleagues coming back into the media industry as well. So that's a positive sign for us.
Exactly. Now, you say going back to the basics. Does media work a lot closely with schools, like, for example, tertiary institutes? I also noticed at the workshop we had USP journalism students. We also had FNU journalism students. But you know what, Mr. Akola, we'll come back to this question. For now, we'll actually take in a break, but we'll be back with more. If you have questions for Mr. Akola, feel free to call us up 3220-906 or 907, and you're on Gold FM. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, and continuing with our conversation, Mr. Akola. Yes, does media work very closely with journalism students or even tertiary education institutes?
Well, yes, definitely. We, because of the journalism schools in USP and FNU, we sent out invites to them.
Right.
And we even had some of their lecturers at the workshop.
Yes, yes.
However, our focus was on the the young journalists that are coming into the force, into the industry, and it's so important for them to be understanding, what the Constitution is all about, and so that they can even ask better questions, because once they understand what's the mechanisms that's comprised in the Constitution, it'll get them to be more analytical, and they will think the questions out, and the way that they will put their questions or do their stories will be more informed and holistic as well. And it's so important. That's why we invited the journalism schools. So we are here, like I said, from the offset, is to encourage, to promote the area of media standards being lifted, for more upskilling as well. At the same time, we were connecting them to the industry.
Right.
One thing was, okay, now that they are students, at least they have some colleagues, more senior people, and they sit in and hear the questions, they listen, they connected. So it's about building up the media family.
Exactly. What are some things that you noticed in the media industry back when you were in the industry until now? What has been the change that you've noticed personally?
Well, we the changes we like, for instance, getting this workshop is getting everyone to the table. Working with the different sort of organizations, how they supply for their listeners or their readers or their viewers. We understand that, but basically, a lot of times we are doing the same thing. We are disseminating information. That's the crux of where we come together. And the changes, there used to be a lot of pride in the media then.
Yeah.
But now with the evolution of time and new technologies, the digital technologies, how internet and Facebook and Twitter, or social media is taking things to another level. So how do we work things out? So that's why I'm saying, it's so important, vitally important, that we at least try and see what are the basics, the values that underlie a good journalist or media person or a programmer or announcer, and those sort of things. So at least you have some values, because previously we used to, when you want to do an interview, you would call up and try and build that relationship,
Right.
And you'll sometimes it require you to send questions. Things have changed somewhat, and that's why we need to understand, okay, this is a new mode, and we do not want to be left behind. So
Exactly.
we are, it's like you've got a rear mirror there. You're looking at the rear mirror, but you've got a big windscreen in front of you. So
Right.
so you're looking at things that used to happen in the past, but you're focusing on the future as well. So
Exactly.
that's why we have to be mindful and try and marry those two. So progressively we're moving forward.
With being in the media yourself, have you noticed a lot of people, or a lot of reporters or journalists, or even personalities being more opinionated now than before?
Yes, that's that's why I'm saying, we're getting to the social aspect of it. Say it this way, probably from when I started, we were like old generator, so
Right.
to speak,
Right.
and basically we didn't share our opinions. Our job as media people was to get the facts and present it.
The way it was.
Yeah, and we didn't put a spin to it, so that people can decide for themselves. But some of the things that I'm seeing now, there seems to be some spin to it. So to me, it's just going back to the basics. Media people need to realize,
Code of conduct.
are they journalists or advocates? There's two different things.
Okay.
An advocate will be pushing an agenda.
Right.
A journalist, his or her job is to just gather all the facts and present it to the reader or the viewer, and let the viewers or the readers decide for themselves. And that's quite a difference. So we're trying to see how that works, because for instance, you might be a programmer and you're given, okay, you talk about this on radio, whether it be a gender issue or climate change or health issues. But for a media person or a journalist, the basics, across the board, they need to do their homework and they do a lot of research, and they present it to the people, and the people decide. So to me, that's the difference between an advocate and a journalist. But right now, there seems to be some sort of marrying or marriage that's going on, where even some of our media people are putting their opinions on Facebooks, and that's why it's so important for them to go through their.
Speaking of that, does MEDA monitor some of the social networking sites on journalists or even on media personalities that do comment on these sites? Yeah, their personal opinions, though.
We've already been monitoring it, and like I said, once we get a full complement of our team and put the various mechanisms, how we look at ways of being proactive, so to speak. So one of the forms is, instead of being defensive, where we just sit back and penalize you,
right?
We go back to the constituency and say, no, let's train them.
Right.
So once you understand, and once we start to get all those other structures in place, so it's more proactive. It's more on the offensive rather than on the defensive. So for us, it's that's the way we look at it at the moment.
Okay. We'll have more questions for Mr. Akola. And if you do have questions, though, you know what to do. Call us up, 3220-906-907. And don't go anywhere, because we'll be back with our final segment on Speak Your Mind on Gold FM. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. And yes, talking once again with Mr. Akola, the Director for the Media Industry Development Authority. Now, before the break, I actually asked you about the social media networking site. Now, we know that there is a page where a lot of the media personalities come on and have a discussion or vent their frustrations and even their opinions. Now, is this allowed, though, under the Media Code of Conduct?
Well, for us, even under the Constitution, every person has a right, freedom of expression and freedom of the media. But at some point in time, it has some limitations.
Okay.
And it talks about if there's hate speeches and all those. That's when,
yes,
remember the workshop that we had, so that we're not defaming someone, we're not taking someone to
crime.
But we would like to believe that it would be more constructive in the way things are done. But instead of restricting them, what we had sent out, or a question that we had sent out to media outlets, were whether they had media policies in place, media guidelines within their own organizations. Because once you come to work as a programmer or news person, there are house rules.
Yes.
And, so different organizations have their own policies in place and guidelines, what directs a person in their conduct. So for us, that's more on the proactive side, where we'd like to see that there's guidelines within all these media organizations, and they self-regulate themselves. So it's not about media authority coming down with, with a hammer or something, but we're going on the offensive and saying, have you got policies? Why don't you have policies in place?
Right.
How can we assist? And so that they have that framework in place. Because it is not only about this year building up to the elections, but for the future, and let's, coming back to the foundational principles of work within the media industry, a lot of times people have come in and are trying to fill in the shoes of someone who has been there, very experienced. But, the passing of knowledge to that new person hasn't taken place. So we're saying, okay, why don't you have templates in place, So should someone leave today, whoever comes on board, there's a template. They all of us, they come straight to the point at that same level rather than starting from scratch again and building up. And you'll realize that in the media industry, there's a lot of changes happening where people are leaving this workplace, going to the other, but if we could have templates or guidelines within those media organizations, it'll be better for them and better for their companies.
Since the popularity of some of the social networking sites, has a lot of company approached media to assist them with their policies as far as social networking or sites go?
Not at the moment, but I know, we've got things like Google now where people can Google for guidelines in terms of social networks.
But would this fall around the media responsibilities as well?
Yes, we're looking at that. That's why we've asked for guidelines and policies. So we're willing to assist in some way or the other, and so that we are all working together. So whether you, if you're a journalist, say for instance, quoting from the Media Code of Ethics, if they are a journalist working under certain codes, and after your 8 to 5 job, when you finish and you go onto social media and you're something else,
right?
So I wouldn't expect that person, if the code is within you, whatever basics you have from there, even if you go onto the social media aspect, you are still that honorable person that adheres to certain principles or values. So that's why we say emphasizing, understand your code. You need to live it. Rather than preach it, you need to live it. Whether you are in the newsroom or out of it, people will see you and respect you for who you are. Whether you're wearing that, whether you are working or not. But 24/7, you're the same person. You don't put up a mask now and
be someone else
later.
Okay. Now, with the build-up to elections, now I believe you've got another workshop in place to educate and also make the media aware of certain limitations or certain things that they're able to work on. Now, have you been in the industry during the past elections?
Yes. 2006, I was here as the news director, setting up the network for coverage for the elections, and
Any expectations for this year's elections? I mean, I know you're not, totally will be there, but I mean, as a director of media, any expectations for this?
Well, this one's going to be very interesting. That's what I'm saying. The landscape has changed.
Yeah.
The rules have changed for these elections compared to the previous one. And we need to understand the regulations. Once it comes out, we need to read and study it and work it out so that, come election time, people are familiar in what they do with it, rather than leave it to others to decide for you how you think. And I can tell you that, our people are well versed, Say, for instance, the villages up in the interior or in the islands, people are saying, they're not well educated, but a lot of times when there's a rugby commentary, all of them understand what's happening, and so I'm saying, okay, probably it's the way that we put the message through.
Yeah, exactly.
And for us, it is important for all of us to understand the regulations, the media, the decree on the elections when it comes out. Let's go through it and understand that. So when you come to the voting aspect of it, you won't be disqualified. And that's why we're saying, this election is going to be interesting because
everything's changed. It's going to be a total different playing field, like you said.
Definitely.
Okay. After the workshop, did some of the participants, did they feel like they were comfortable enough to just come directly to Madam Nazat Shamim or even to Mida and say, oh, I need work on this, or our organization lacks this? Or were they able to have like an open forum where they could just come and vent their frustrations after the workshop itself?
Yes, so some of them having discussions with Madam Shamim here in Suva, Lutoka and Mombasa. There's a couple of organizations wanting to do more workshops with Madam Shamim, which is, to me, is very encouraging.
Exactly.
So that, it's not only for the participants that came to the 3 workshops, but they are taking it back to their organizations,
right.
And why everyone, whether you're a sales rep or a programmer or engineer or a journalist, you need to be on the same page, because it's for the betterment of each organization.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kola. I think we're wrapping things up here. Now, before we do go, any last words from the Media Industry Authority or anything to look forward to this year?
Well, thank you very much, Serafina. We're just here to assist our media colleagues moving forward. It's about the nation. We have to, like the Prime Minister always say, be pro-Fiji, and
exactly.
With Fiji winning the Tokyo Sevens, we're looking forward to Hong Kong in the coming week. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kola. That was Speak Your Mind for today. We hope you enjoyed the program. Until next time, you have a great day.